we have the entire Vikings schedule, 18 weeks, 17 games with a bye week. It's all laid out in front of us right here, and we've both gone through and looked at the schedule, and we've picked games. We have not discussed this at all previously, and we've also had our wives pick each game, and we've had our kids pick each game. So you have 3 kids. You said you kind of did like a little pick by committee sort of thing.
Yeah.
One of your kids picked the Vikings to win every game.
Yeah, my 4-year-old wants ice cream every week, so he basically said the Vikings every week. So
I don't blame him. But anyways, I asked both of my girls to pick the games, and I went with the one that I liked the best.
Okay,
so
awesome.
I won't necessarily reveal who that is. The other thing...
Wait, the child you like the best or the schedule?
No, the schedule that I like the best. I love both of my kids.
Sure, yeah.
The other thing... So, 2 things. Sorry, really quick. We're going to flip a coin.
Yeah.
So we have a quarter here. It's a 1999 Pennsylvania state quarter. We really need to get our hands on a Minnesota or an Iowa coin.
Probably wouldn't be too difficult to figure out.
Anyways, we're going to flip a coin. Heads is a Vikings win. Tails is a Vikings loss. So we'll see what the coin predicts. And then we're going to have Austin share his pick, his wife's pick, and his kid's pick. And then I'll share my pick, my wife's pick, and my kid's pick. And the other thing we're going to do is we're going to reveal our lock to win and our lock to lose.
Yep.
So we did that last year as well. Each of us picked one game that we think for sure the Vikings will win this game, and one game for sure the Vikings will lose.
How did we do last year? Just really quick, I think that'd be fun to look at not everything but our locks.
So I actually went through and I did some calculating. You actually picked the best of everybody.
Of course.
You had an 82% success rate in your picks, so you did the best. I picked a 59%.
There you go.
And I was tied with your kids for that. We were tied for second. Your wife was third at 53%. My wife was fourth at 47%, and my kids were terrible at 29%.
Wow. They also hate the Vikings. So
I compared the actual result of each game to each of our picks.
Okay.
So you did pretty well.
Yeah. 82%. Do you have our locks in there?
Yeah. So you picked the lock to win was the Falcons. And they won that game.
They did.
Against all odds with Josh Dobbs flying into the end zone.
Obviously, I knew exactly how that game was going to go.
The Pastronaut. And then you also picked the Bears. It was week 12. The Bears at home as the lock to lose, and the Vikings did in fact lose that game.
Yeah,
12-10.
I'm sad to say I was right on that one, but
so I picked the Chiefs as my lock to lose.
Okay.
And they did in fact lose that game.
It was close though.
It was close. It was 27-20. Week 5 against the Chiefs at home against the Chiefs, and then you had your lock to lose as the Bears at home. I had the lock to win as the Bears at home. So I was 1 for 2 on the locks. You were 2 for 2.
Yeah,
on the locks. So nice job.
You know, a broken clock is right twice a day. So
you're always full of wisdom.
Yeah.
All right, so let's flip the coin first. Do you want to do the honors on the first game here? So week 1, the Vikings travel to the Meadowlands and play the Giants.
And the coin says
heads is a win.
Coin says the Vikings are going to beat the Giants.
All right, so we'll mark that down as a Vikings win.
All right. Me, I guess. I said that the Vikings would also beat the Giants.
Okay.
My wife said that they would beat the Giants, and my kids said they would beat the Giants.
Wow. A clean sweep.
Yep.
So I am, sorry, viewers, I am going through and updating our spreadsheet as we talk about these. So I'll try to do this quickly, but I want to make sure I record all of this accurately. All
Absolutely.
Right. So on my side of the deal here, I have the Vikings winning this game. Yes, I think they hit the road and they win. My wife has them losing the game.
Okay.
And my kids have them winning.
Okay.
So my wife is the only one that has the Vikings losing right now. Everybody else, your kids, my kids, both of our wives, and both of us, we've got the Vikings getting that win, getting that dub.
No offense to your wife. I really hope she's wrong.
I hope so, too.
And you know what, Ev? I have this open, so as you make your picks, I will write yours down.
Sweet.
So we can be a little bit smoother on that, probably.
All right,
week 2.
Week 2. I'll flip the coin for this one. We got the Vikings hosting the 49ers.
Correct.
And that's just a regular Sunday game, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Just a regular Sunday game.
Yeah, remember, they don't have too many non-noon games.
They've got like 2 or 3, I think.
Well, 1, if you count London. 2 on week 8.
Thursday night game and a Monday night game, I think.
Yep, and then on week 16 is a 3:05 game. Everything else is noon.
All right. So 49ers at home, regular Sunday game. The coin says heads.
Ah,
the Vikings win. So there you go.
All right. I said, and this is a lock,
Oh, boy.
I said the Vikings would lose that game.
Okay. So that is your lock to lose, huh?
My wife said they would lose, and my kids said they would lose.
Okay. All right. So I also think they will lose this game. I think the Niners are one of the better teams in the league right now. I don't see a scenario where an up-and-coming Vikings team gets the dub there.
They did it last year.
They did surprise the Niners last year. That was a fun game.
Yeah.
My wife has them losing as well. And my kids have them losing as well. So it's except for the coin, it is a wash.
Well, remember, the coin was very nice to us last year.
It was, yeah. What was the coin last year?
Coin had us going 12-5 last year.
Yeah,
Didn't get the first loss until week 6.
Yeah, the coin had a 5-game win streak and then another 4-game win streak before dropping a few games at the end of the season there.
All right, the coin for week 3, hosting the Texans. Coin says we're winning again there, Ev.
All right.
I also need to address this. I have said the word "we" a lot in the last minute or so. I'm not for that. I'm not on the team. The coin says the Vikings are going to win this one, Ev.
I think you said the same thing last year.
I know.
When we
I
recorded
keep doing it.
Same episode. I'm we because I'm a native Minnesotan,
Sure,
and
yeah.
it's just part of my heritage.
Yeah. Did you recharge your Minnesota batteries this past weekend?
I did, yeah.
Nice.
I was able to go up to Minnesota, had a nice little trip to the southwestern corner, Buffalo Ridge as it's known.
Well, there you go. All right. We'll keep going with the Texans game.
Texans at home, week 3.
Yep, I said they would lose to the Texans.
Okay.
My wife said they would lose. And my kids said they would win.
Oh, okay. See, I started typing lose.
So far, me personally, I'm predicting the Vikings to start off 1-2
Okay.
in the first 3 weeks.
There you go. All right. I also have this as a loss for the Vikings. The Texans were a really, really good team last year. So, I don't think in the early part of the season the Vikings are going to be super strong.
Yeah, they are. I feel like they are 1 year ahead of the Vikings.
Yes.
In their development at this stage with the rookie quarterback, the defense. Yeah, I think they lose. But anyways, your wife?
My wife thinks they win.
Okay.
So my wife has a Vikings win against the Texans, and my kids say loss. The Vikings lose at home against the Texans.
So Evan, you and I are both saying they're going to start off 1-2.
Yep.
We have the same prediction so far.
Win, loss, loss. That's kind of where I'm at.
All right, week 4, Vikings are going to Green Bay. What's the coin say, Ev?
The coin says, please be a win. Please be a win. It's a win.
Wow, okay.
It is a win. So the coin has the Vikings going 4-0 to start the season. Wouldn't that be something?
That would be something.
All right, what do you got?
All right, I have that game at Green Bay. The Vikings are going to win.
Oh, okay.
My wife says another W.
Wow.
And my kids might need to sleep outside because they said they're going to lose.
You know that's the rule in my house. If they say anything about liking the Packers over the Vikings, they have to sleep outside. I think the Vikings lose against the Packers, so this is where you and I diverge a little bit.
All right.
At Green Bay, Jordan Love just signed that big contract.
I couldn't be happier about that, by the way.
My wife smartly said the Vikings will win.
There you go.
So I like that. But my kids, they like to give me a hard time about the Packers. They say loss.
Interesting.
So,
okay.
There you go.
All right, week 5. Vikings are going to London.
Yep. That'll be
to technically
fun game.
host the Jets. The Vikings are the home team in that game. So the coin says another win, and I wish we had a camera like above us to prove the coin, but
we are not making this up, folks. This is real.
For the second year in a row, the coin has predicted a 5-game win streak to start the season.
All right, what do you got?
All right, I said the Jets game is going to be a win.
Okay.
My wife said a win, and my kids also said a win. Clean sweep in my household.
I think this is also a win. My wife says it's a win, and my kids say it's a win. My kids and I actually have the same exact prediction so far.
Nice.
Win, 3 losses, and then a win.
Well, that's interesting. All right, bye week. They're going to lose for sure, right?
Well, only the Vikings could do that. We have a clean sweep of wins, though, in that Jets game.
Yeah.
And we have a really early bye week this year, which is kind of intriguing. It could be good. It could be bad. I don't know. It could kind of hurt the playoff hopes towards the back stretch of the season when injuries start to pile up and you don't have that extra week to recover.
Potentially.
But it could also, and this is my prediction, and I stand pat, I think they go 2-3 in those first 5 games, and Darnold struggles, and J.J. McCarthy comes out in Week 7 at home against the Lions. That's my prediction.
All right.
So,
and you can't argue with your prediction. I could see a world where that happens. I could also see a world where, realistically, I could see J.J. not touching the field at all this season.
That's definitely a reality, too, for sure. But,
and I think that's the plan. But if he keeps throwing dimes in training camp, which training camp is not the regular season, I know that, and you could throw 100 interceptions every day in training camp and come out and be an MVP in the regular season, or vice versa, but I think the plan, and they're not shy about this, is for JJ to sit as long as humanly possible. So that's kind of what I'm predicting. But yeah, I'm excited for the season no matter what.
All right, Week 7.
All right, Week 7. I think you're up for the coin.
Coin? All right.
All right, so the Vikings are going to host the Lions, and the coin says...
It's a win.
No way. All right.
It is a win.
That
what do you
is
got?
wild. Okay, so I think this Lions game is going to be a win.
Okay.
My wife, who did 3 seconds of research, said that the Vikings are going to lose. And...
Ooh.
My kids, this is one that my oldest really thought they were going to lose, but I think the ice cream prevailed. We're also, as a family, going to be attending this game. So,
you're going to the Lions game?
This is the one we're going to.
You didn't tell me that.
I told you the tickets were on sale, and I was looking, but I pulled the trigger. I went for it.
Yeah.
So
that's exciting.
Yeah. So the kids did say they were going to win.
Okay. I have the Vikings winning this game, and this is one of my locks. This is a lock to win.
Okay. All right.
I think they come out after the bye week, and again, quarterback change.
Sure.
I think that kind of rejuvenates lackluster effort through 5 games, and we see a win.
There you go.
So there you go. My wife has this as a loss, and my kids have the Vikings winning this game.
Nice. Okay.
So there you go.
All right. The wives do not like the team this week. Week 7, at least.
No, they don't.
All right. The Vikings go to L.A. to play the Rams in Week 8. And the coin says they're going to win. This you couldn't have
it's rigged.
8 straight heads in a row. What are the chances of that?
We got to get a
that's
tails
insane.
at some point.
Yeah. All right. I said they're going to go to L.A. and win.
Oh, okay.
My wife said they'd lose, and my kids said they would win.
All right. I have this as a loss at LA. Again, LA, pretty decent team. This is a Thursday night game after a divisional game at home. So, and the Vikings just don't travel well to the West Coast. That's just historically been the case.
It's difficult to do.
I think loss. My wife has this as a loss. And my kids also have this as a loss.
Well, I hope your family is all wrong that week.
And your wife.
Yeah, well, she's never wrong. She also never listens. So.
She'll never listen,
Yeah.
so it's perfect. All right. Week 9, we have the Colts at home. That's just what... Okay, we're back. We had some slight technical difficulties there. We had a quarter go into the beer. We can't figure out if it was heads or tails, so we ended up getting a different quarter.
Yeah.
And you're going to be in charge of flipping the quarter on this one.
All right.
And I might get my quarter flipping responsibilities back.
Yeah, we might have to
later.
have some practice ones off camera or something.
We'll see.
But now the pressure's on me. So
Week 9, the Colts are at US Bank Stadium playing the Vikings.
I'm going to dedicate this coin flip to Brian because it's the Colts game. Our friend Brian is a Colts fan. So you think he'll come watch that game with us?
I don't know.
The last time he came to watch a Colts-Vikings game...
If he comes and the Vikings are losing, he has to leave.
100%.
If he comes and the Vikings are winning, he's not allowed to leave.
We could probably figure that out. Anyways, let's see what this quarter says. Hopefully, I don't put it in my beer. So, yeah, there you go. All right. This is a heads.
Wow.
The coin...
The coin has spoken.
The coin has spoken. All right.
8-0.
Oh, man. All right. Trying to reset after that one. That's my new favorite Skol Hop moment. All right, week 9, I said the Vikings would lose to the Colts.
Okay.
My wife said they would win, and the children said that they would lose.
Boo. You said they would lose, too.
Yeah.
I think this is a win. I don't think the Colts are that strong.
Okay.
I'm missing some of your commentary here. I want to know, like, your thoughts on the games.
Yeah, I just took it as Richardson's got another year under his belt. Yeah, he was injured last year. The Colts are going to be a tough team to beat.
Okay.
So
I don't disagree with you. This might be a really close game for the Vikings, but I think they come out with the win. My wife thinks this is a loss.
Okay.
And my kids think this is a win.
Nice. Okay, so the exact opposite.
Yep. All right. Do you trust me enough to flip?
Not yet.
Okay. Week 10. So this is the beginning of a 3-week road trip, which I think is kind of rare in today's NFL. I don't remember a team having a 3-game road trip followed by, interestingly enough, a 3-game homestand. So the Vikings kind of... I don't know if they lucked out or if they unlucked out.
Yeah.
But they have week 10, 11, 12 all on the road, and week 13, 14, 15 all at US Bank.
Yeah. The closest they came last year was, remember, because they kind of bounced back and forth.
Last year it was just like home away, home away.
They did have a 2-game road trip followed by a 2-game homestand at the end of the season. So, this year, you don't normally see 3 games away. But let's see what the coin says for week 10 against the Jaguars.
You've been very conservative with your coin flip.
All right, that also says a heads. So we can't really tell. We will probably be able to tell what the beer coin says.
Once I get down to the bottom of it, we definitely will. And we may have to adjust, because that was the week 7 against the Lions.
That is true,
flip.
yeah.
So.
Yeah, we almost shouldn't have. Oh, well. Anyways, I said the Vikings would win against the Lions, coming off of what I predicted a loss against the Colts. Okay. Not the Lions, the Jaguars. My wife said they would lose, and my kids said they would lose.
Yes, so this is week 10 at Jacksonville.
Yep.
I've got this as a loss as well. I feel like Jacksonville's a pretty good team, and I think the Vikings, when they enter into this 3-game road stretch, they're going to be in their heads a little bit. And I think they're going to drop at least 2 of the 3 games on the road. That's my prediction.
Yeah, well, so far, I mean, up until that game, you have the Vikings only winning 4 games.
Yeah, which I think is realistic.
5, so that'll be where the rubber meets the road. If that's the case, and they haven't made a quarterback switch, and there's any doubts in Darnold at all at 4-5 or 5-4, anytime you're kind of not on top, you're gonna start hearing people clamor for some changes. So yeah, that'll be a pivotal point in the season.
Yeah, my wife has this as a win.
Okay.
And my kids have this as a win.
Nice. Okay.
So there you go. Week 11 at the Titans.
All right.
Week 2 of the road trip. Do you trust me enough now?
I mean, I don't know, but I can't trust you until I trust you. So
I'm gonna go over here, and we'll go low. We won't go high. Oof. It's tails.
Oh man. Well, at least now we know the coin is human. Except it's not. It's a coin. But maybe I don't trust you yet. So all right. You said. Well, the coin said that they would lose. I put T there. I don't know why.
Tails.
Against the Titans. I said they would lose. My wife said they would win. I said they'd lose because I think some of these games you're really going to start seeing the young portion of this team really show how young it is. So, I mean, second away game of that home or the away stretch there, I think it's going to start weighing on them. Yeah, I think that's a loss. And my kids said that they would win. They'd beat the Titans.
All right. There you go. So I have this as a loss as well. Like I said a minute ago, I think 2 of these 3 road games are losses for the Vikings. Mm-hmm. There's just a lot of question marks, and you said it. You alluded to it a little bit ago. Quarterback questions. This could be a chance where whoever is under center gets to prove themselves, even if the Vikings don't win the game. Mm-hmm. It's a chance to, did you throw an untimely pick, or did you actually protect the ball? Mm-hmm. Did you make good reads and make good passes, or did you throw a bunch of incompletions, right?
Yep.
Did you read the defense well? Did you call the right audible at the line? This is where, yeah, and you said it again, the rubber meets the road. This will be a proving ground for them. I still think they lose at Tennessee in Week 11.
Yep.
My wife has this as a loss. And my kids have this as a win.
Okay. Something I didn't note or even really think about until now is the Titans are a younger team as far as their progression with their coach and all of their coaching staff than the Vikings are. It's a whole new coaching staff for them. Their quarterbacks are young. I don't think Tannehill's there anymore. I think it's Will Levis at this point. Mm-hmm. He's this will be his 3rd year in the league, and he hasn't been a Pro Bowler yet. It's not like he should have been, but yeah, they're just a young team. So it wouldn't be crazy to think this would be a win, but I think at this point you can't win them all. So this is a loss for the Vikings. All right, Week 12. The last away game of this stretch here in Chicago against the Bears. The coin says they're going to lose against the Bears.
So the coin is starting to really show its colors here.
Yeah.
This happened last year, too.
Yep, it did take a turn.
Went on a hot streak with the coin, and then all of a sudden, boom, we got hit with some losses.
Yep.
All right, what do you got?
So I thought that they would go into Chicago and beat the Bears.
Okay.
My wife said a win as well, and my kids said a win as well. I think I'm not ever really going to be a believer in Caleb Williams until he makes us believe in him. I definitely don't believe in the Bears coaching staff. I think they've already shown who they are. I think this could be a fireable year for coaches, although that rookie quarterback buys you a little bit of time. Yeah, I think this will be a changing point for the Bears to do just another turnover. So I don't think they're going to be very good. So that's why I said win against the Vikings, or win in Chicago.
Yeah, I've got this as a win as well. I think of the 3 teams, the Bears are the weakest in that road stretch. Mm-hmm. So I think the Vikings have the best chances of beating the Bears. And the Vikings have been pretty successful in Chicago as of late. We've witnessed a game there. That was a win. It didn't really matter. But
Yeah, that was the season was already done. It was just the last game of the year, and the Bears were competing for the first overall pick in that game, but still.
But I agree with you, too. I think the Bears are... Let me put it this way. The Bears have a lot to prove as well, coaches and players. I also don't believe in Caleb Williams a whole lot, so... it'll be interesting to see how that develops. We could be sitting here in November eating our words.
Yep.
But, yeah, I think this is a win for the Vikings. I'm not super concerned about it at this point. So, all right. You going to let me flip again?
Yes, I think you can try it since I've lost a game with the coin flip too.
I forgot to finish this out. My wife thinks they win.
Okay.
At Chicago, and... my kids think they lose.
Okay.
At Chicago.
So your kids are the only ones that week that think your kids in the coin.
Okay. Week 13. I will flip here and hopefully not put it
If
in
you
the
get
beer.
another coin in your beer, we almost have to scrap the whole episode. I won't be good. I won't make it.
This is the beginning of a 3-game road stand. Home stand. Sorry, I misspoke. Home stand. Cardinals, week 13 at home. It almost fell out of my hand.
No.
It's heads.
Nice. Okay.
It's heads.
Coin
It's a
said
win.
they would win. I think I disagree with the coin. I think the Cardinals, they're going to will themselves to some wins. They won't be good. I also don't believe in Kyler Murray. They won't be good, but they're going to will themselves to some wins. I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr. is just talented enough. He's good for a few wins on his own. So, I think they're going to lose against the Cardinals. My wife said that they would win, and my kids said that they would win.
All right. I've got this as a win. I think this home stretch is where the Vikings really find themselves, and they're really not playing any crazy good teams here in this 3-game home stretch. So you've got the Cardinals, the Falcons, and the Bears.
Yep.
So it's not like you've got the Niners or the Chiefs or, these perennial powerhouses coming in. One or two of these teams might surprise people in the league. It always happens every year. There's always kind of a dark horse. But at this point, before anything really happens, I just don't see the Vikings really struggling in this homestand.
Yep.
I've got my wife with a win here against the Cardinals, and I've got my kids with a loss.
All right.
So
Kids are on a 2-game losing streak so far.
Yeah. All right, you're flipping for week 14. This is the Falcons at home.
This will be a circle on the calendar game.
This is the Kirk Cousins reunion game.
Assuming he's on the field, which, I mean, he will be. He's only had one injury to knock him out of the season in his whole career. He's the juggernaut about that. So he'll be there. He'll be starting, and the coin says the Vikings are going to beat Kirk Cousins.
All right.
So
thanks, coin.
Yeah.
What do you say?
I say that this is going to be a lock of a win. This is my lock to win. I don't think the Vikings are going to let Kirk Cousins leave that stadium with a win that day. I think they're going to just sell out and maybe even get penalized. They're going to do everything they can to make sure, within the rules, Kirk Cousins does not win that game. So
yeah, let's not have another bounty gate type of situation here. But the Vikings on the opposite end of that would be not good.
I will say this. If the Falcons win that game, it will not be because Kirk Cousins had 400 yards passing and 5 passing touchdowns. It will be somehow they ran the ball all over the field. So, yep, that's my lock to win. My wife said they would win, and my kids said that they would lose.
Your kids are party poopers.
Yep.
I have this as a win as well. Like I said a minute ago, I think the Vikings find themselves here. And like you said, I don't think they let Kirk Cousins come in and walk all over him. I think this is the Vikings game for sure. So it's a win for me. My wife thinks they lose this game.
Man, come on.
And my kids think they win.
All right.
the picks are in, and I'm getting pretty close to figuring out if this was heads or tails.
Which one was it? Was it the Rams game?
It's looking like tails. No, it was the Lions, week 7.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, until you figure that one out for sure, we got to flip for
Hang on.
week 15 game. Oh, you're going to figure it out for sure? What's the coin say? Are we going to have to go back? That's a tails.
That's tails.
Yep.
I'm going to try to get this out, too.
Which game was that on, though?
That was the Lions game.
Was it Lions?
Week 7.
Okay.
Yeah, week 7 Lions.
All right.
We have to change that to a loss.
Yep. All right.
Got to go with the coin. Stay true to it.
We do. We will be retiring the beer-soaked coin. That thing's too drunk to perform right now. But I think, is it your turn?
I've been doing the odds, so yes, it is my turn.
Okay.
We better wait to pour the second beer until.
All right, so week 15 against the Bears, hosting the Bears. The coin says.
Man, I dropped it.
Oof,
it's
Evan.
a tails.
All right, the coin fell to the ground. Evan was a wide receiver in middle school.
No, I wasn't. I was a safety.
Oh, well, you're showing why. So the coin said that the Vikings would lose against the Bears at home. And I disagree with them. I said that it would be a win for the Vikings. Again, for the same reasons I said earlier, I don't believe in the Bears. If Caleb Williams is going to be good, it won't be this year. And whenever you play fantasy football and try to just add a bunch of big names, doesn't usually work out. So, yeah, I don't think the Bears are going to be it this year. My wife said that the Vikings would win, and my kids said that the Vikings would win as well. So that's how that's going for my household. It's a clean sweep.
All right. I've got the Vikings winning this as well. This is a Monday night game, by the way. The only Monday night game on the schedule.
JJ's going to shine under the lights.
I think he'll be under center.
He could be.
I do think that. My wife has this as a win for the Vikings. And my kids also have this as a win for the Vikings.
All right. I think so. My kids are the only ones that said that they would lose.
Yep. All right. You're flipping for week 16 now. Flipping the coin. This is at Seattle, week 16.
The coin says the Vikings are going to go to Seattle and win.
All right. What do you have?
Let's see. Hold on. I just messed with some stuff. Do we want to do a quick check to make sure I didn't ruin anything?
No, we're good. Everything looks great.
Sweet. Okay. That would just be our luck this episode for me to not record your audio for the second half.
The coin has been less lucky. And
it's
aside from the coin, I think we're doing pretty well. We're good.
All right. So I said that the Vikings would beat the Seahawks. I mean, you could argue either way. The Vikings and the Seahawks are going to be in similar situations.
Yep.
They're a little bit more experienced at the moment with their quarterback situation, but it's not like, is Geno Smith still the quarterback out there? I think he is.
Last I heard, yeah.
Because they traded for Drew Lock. Or they traded for Drew Lock in the Russell Wilson trade, so he's been there for a little while. Who did they trade for? Sam Howell. There you go. That's who they traded for. So, yeah, I mean... Yeah, I just they have a new coach as well. It's hard to argue that a team with an inexperienced coach is going to come in and beat the Vikings, although this is in Seattle. So, yeah, either way, I say it's a win. It's not like the Vikings are going to blow them out. My wife said that they would lose, and my kids also said that they would lose.
All right. So I have this as a loss as well.
Okay.
Again, West Coast.
Oh, that's true.
And it's an afternoon. It's not like a Sunday noon game. It's a Sunday 3:00 game. And I don't know. I don't have stats to back that up. I just feel like the Vikings struggle in those situations, especially on the West Coast. So I'm going to go with the loss there, unfortunately. My wife has this as a loss. And my kids have this as a win.
Nice. Okay.
So there you go. All right, 2 more games to go. We've got the Packers at home in week 17.
Yep, and this one's you.
Let's flip of the coin.
Oh, my goodness.
It is tails again,
All
though.
right.
I'll pick it up.
Okay.
with my toes.
All right. So I said that the Vikings would host the Green Bay Packers and lose. Okay. So, I mean, yeah, I think it's going to be a hard-fought NFC North game. The Vikings they're going to lose some gas there. They're not going to beat that team that day. So my wife, she said it's going to be a win.
Smart lady.
And my kids, who know better than to go against the Vikings against the Packers, they said it would be a win as well.
I've got this as a win. I think, honestly, the Vikings and the Packers could be really struggling for that second place spot, both of them. I think the Lions will win the division like they did last year. I think there hasn't been too much turnover there. They haven't lost a lot of guys, and the key pieces are still there. They've got a great coach. Dan Campbell is, I think, the best coach for that team, honestly. He's been kind of fun to watch.
They have a really expensive, slightly unproven quarterback.
Yeah, but he held his own last year, I think.
Once the run game figured it out, his job was a lot easier.
Yep. So, but yeah, anyways, I think the Vikings win against the Packers here. And this is a bloodbath. I think this is a tough game because both of these teams are trying to make the playoffs at the end of the season. And don't forget, the Packers didn't really enter the playoff conversation until late in the season, and the Vikings were kind of in the conversation until they weren't.
Yeah, they didn't flatline until they ultimately did, but yeah.
So my wife has this as a win, and my kids have this as a loss.
Man.
My kids have the Vikings getting swept by the Packers.
Your kids are just trolling you at this point.
Yep, that happens.
All right, I forget whose turn it is.
You're
I think
flipping.
it's your
Nope,
okay.
You're flipping.
Yeah, you dropped it. Okay, so last game, Week 18, going to Detroit against the Lions. Isn't that how the Vikings ended the year last year, or was it a home game?
Yeah, they ended Week 16 and 18 were against the Lions.
Yep.
One was at home, one was away. I can't remember which was which.
All right, well, the coin says the Vikings are going to win. They're going to beat the Lions in Detroit.
Okay.
I agree with the coin. I say it'll be a win. My wife says it's a loss. And my kids say it's a win. So if you're keeping track, I said the Vikings would have an 11-6 record. I truly believe that, and I almost don't think it matters who the quarterback is. I think between the coach and the rest of the team, they're good enough. The only heel is going to be that cornerback position. I think that could be the one thing that really screws the team over. We saw Kevin O'Connell, translate plays into the headset of Josh Dobbs and figure out a way to win a game. So I don't think it really matters who the quarterback is. My wife said a 10-7 season, and my kids agreed with me on an 11-6 season.
There you go. All right. So I think this is a loss.
Okay.
For the Vikings. Oh. I think they finish 9-8. And I think they miss the playoffs, quite honestly.
Okay.
I don't think they end up making the playoffs at 9-8. Not even a wild card.
I think with 17 games now, especially in a division that has 1 to 2 other good teams, you'd be hard pressed to make the playoffs with a 9-8 record. So yeah.
Yep, I'm thinking 9-8. Let's go down the line here and just cover the rest of our bases here. My wife thinks they lose. She thinks the Vikings finish 8-9. But she thinks they make the playoffs.
Oh, okay.
And win a game. They win a wild card game.
Well, that goes in the face of everything I just said. But we've seen losing teams make the playoffs before.
Yeah. So she thinks they win in the wild card and then they lose.
Okay.
So I'm going to record that just for the sake of recording that. She could be right. You never know.
I did not, and I did not ask my family either to go through if they made the playoffs, how far they go. So I don't know if you did that all the way through, but
backtracking a little bit for my prediction for the last game of the season at the Lions, that's my lock to lose.
Okay.
I think the Vikings could enter that game as, we could make the playoffs. And then they just kind of fall asleep.
That would be the most Vikings thing ever.
Yep. So they beat the Packers week 17. Everything's looking up. They're 8-8, and they're like, or no, they're what? Not 8-8. They're 9-7.
Mm-hmm.
They're 9-7. They could make the playoffs at 10-7, and they go to Detroit, and it just doesn't happen. So that's my lock to lose.
All right. I mean,
there you go.
Yeah.
And then my kids, to finish this out, my kids think the Vikings win at Detroit to finish out the season. My kids have the Vikings finishing 10-7.
Okay.
This is the interesting part, though. My kids think the Vikings make the playoffs. They go to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And they win.
Oh, all right. Well, I like your kids now.
So, there you go.
All right.
Even though they got swept by the Packers in the regular season.
You know what? If the season ends on a Super Bowl win, I don't really care what happens in the regular season, because that's all that matters is Super Bowls. Not even just wins and losses. Super Bowl wins and losses.
That's right. And an 11-win team has won a Super Bowl before.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So,
all right. So if you remember last year, we kind of continued it on. I think the coin at the end of the regular season last year had the Vikings at 12-5, and we did decide theoretically that's good enough to make the playoffs. Coincidentally, coincidentally, the Vikings, according to the coin this year, will have a 12-5 record, and that's even true with the beer coin.
Yep.
So. Do you
13-4 without the beer coin.
That's true. That's true. So do you think a 12-5 record, one, does it make the playoffs? Two, is it good enough for the 1 seed? 1,
yes, they make the playoffs. 2, no, I don't. I think there are stronger teams in the NFC that will have a better record, 13, 14 wins. They will get the 1 seed, probably San Francisco, maybe Green Bay. I don't know.
Yeah. That's the thing I was going to say. You could argue
Detroit.
You could argue with a 12-5 record in the NFC North, which should be good this coming year. You could argue that that's not even a division-winning record. So
no, I don't think so.
I would tend to agree with you. I don't know what seed they would get with a 12-5 record, but I don't think that'd be good enough.
I think they're playing Wild Card Weekend.
Yeah.
So flip it. Let's see what they get.
All right. The coin says
Wild Card Weekend.
Playoffs, Wild Card Weekend. Oh, the coin says they lose in Wild Card Weekend. Which, if you remember last year, the coin had the Vikings getting all the way to the NFC Championship game and then losing that game. So, not as good.
Not great, but that's okay. What about you? Do you think they make the playoffs with your 11-6 record?
I think you're definitely fighting for one of those wild card games, wild card spots. I think the Packers or the Lions are going to win the division. But yeah, you never know. So I think they're going to be, that 6th or 7th seed if they do make the playoffs with an 11-6 record. I would say, just for the fun of it, yeah, I think they'd make it with that record.
Do they win or lose in the wild card round?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this team has beaten me down so much. I wouldn't even be comfortable enough saying anything predictions for the playoffs, because you never know. When Sam Bradford went down, I think we all would have said, "Oh, season's lost." Maybe next year. But then Case Keenum brought them to the NFC Championship game, and they haven't been there since. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be a fun year just because it's the rookie year for JJ. We've got some bright spots in the future. This isn't like they just sold out the future and are trying to win the Super Bowl this year or bust. So I think they're set up to potentially be good in the future if the players develop the way that Kwesi thinks they will. So I'm comfortable enough saying they could compete and potentially could get a playoff spot this year.
There you go.
What do you think?
Well,
I already said. Yeah, I guess,
yeah. I think they missed the playoffs, but narrowly. I think it's close. I think they enter week 18, their 17th game, but week 18 with a chance, with some hope, and then they just kind of surrender to the Lions, unfortunately. And I think the Lions, at that point in week 18, have already secured the division. I don't
potentially.
I don't think they come into that game trying to win the division. I think they come into that game just kind of like the Vikings did against the Bears a few years ago when we were in Chicago. They're just, like, all right, let's try to win this and see if we can end the season on a high note, and we'll rest starters after the first quarter or two, and we'll ride off into the sunset and see what happens. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. But I definitely like my kid's prediction, winning the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'll take that any year.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Yeah, I hope it's a good, fun season. I think I'd rather like a 4-win season than something you predicted, because
then you get the draft pick.
The draft pick, and then you can just focus like, okay, development. Let's see how good is JJ going to be. I say I'd rather a 4-win season. I'd rather an undefeated season and a Super Bowl win, but like, you just, for the future, I'm glad the Vikings are where they are. I said it earlier. I really think they're like a year behind what we've seen with the Texans so far, who have a phenomenal young second-year quarterback, a good cornerstone on the defense with the 3rd overall pick from last year, a young coach that seems to have figured some things out. I think the Vikings are following that line, and that excites me.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. And I don't know. I guess, of course, we're just a couple of dudes from Iowa. We like drinking beer and putting our hot takes out there, and that's just kind of how things are here on the Skol Hop. But the proof will be in the pudding, and we'll see what happens in the regular season.
Yeah.
So